What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Alec from Blackhouse Vapor Company coming at you today with another quick juice review. This time we've got another Blackhouse flavor for you. We have Sublime by Blackhouse Vapor Company. We're just on a Blackhouse streak. We're just gonna keep doing Blackhouse flavors. Let's do it. We got a bunch of new flavors into the shop too, so I'll be doing those soon as well. Stay tuned, but let's get started.
Are you listening? Damn.
Okay, if you've watched one of these videos before, fantastic. But if you haven't, let me just break down really quickly the format that I use. Super simple. First, I start with the flavor profile. Both the flavor profile that's listed on the label and the flavor profile that I perceived while vaping it. I generally vape at least one of these bottles before I do reviews, but with these Blackhouse flavors, I've vaped hundreds of these bottles. So I really tend to think that I know what the flavor tastes like, at least for me personally. That is subjective, so you'll still have to deal with that a little bit, but I can give you my best estimate as to how it will be perceived by your taste buds. Next, I'll go into the temperature profile, so where I think the flavor tastes best at, where I think the juice tastes best at, whether that's gonna be on the hotter side of the spectrum or a little bit more of a cooler vape. Finally, I'll finish off the video by talking about where the juice fits into my flavor rotation, my juice rotation. So whether that's an all-day vape, whether it's more of a dessert vape, or somewhere in the middle, I will let you know at the end of the video, and then we'll wrap it all up. So let's get started. Sublime by Blackhouse Vapor Company. Now on the label, this is a strawberry, watermelon, peach, and guava flavor, and I gotta say, super accurate to what the label says. I definitely get all of those flavors. It's hard when you mash so many different fruit flavors into one juice to get all the subtle notes that come from each particular fruit flavor, but I definitely notice all of them. I'm a big fan of the strawberry peach flavors, and I'm a big fan of watermelon guava flavors, and putting them all into one flavor, it just works. It works for me. Just like our last flavor that we reviewed, Ozzy, it is like super tropical and very sweet fruit flavor, borderline candy flavor, but it's really refreshing, and I wouldn't be turned off if you're not into candy flavors. It's not too sweet. It's not overly sweet. It's not on the like Jolly Rancher side of the spectrum. It's somewhere in between a moderate fruit flavor, something that's subtle, and a candy flavor. It's somewhere in that realm. Sublime, I've noticed, is, as just a side note, a little bit throaty. I don't know which of the fruity flavors in this juice are making that happen, but I have noticed it is just a tiny bit throaty. So if you're someone who likes a little bit more throat hit, this is definitely a pro, in my opinion, but if you're someone who doesn't enjoy throat hit, wants the smoothest hit possible, keep that in mind. That could be considered a con for this particular juice in your circumstances. Okay, so let's move on now to temperature. On the temperature spectrum, I would consider this a hot vape, personally. I think that the flavors in this juice come through the best when it's vaped on the hot side of the spectrum. Not quite, like I mentioned, it's not quite a candy flavor, but it is one of those sweeter, more resilient flavors that you can vape a little bit hotter, and I've found that the hotter you vape these fruity flavors from Blackhouse, the more accurate the flavor becomes. The more you bump it up, the more you're going to start to notice those kind of minute notes in the flavor. The guava will come through a little bit better, the peach will come through a little bit better, the strawberry might start to mellow out a little bit. So something to keep in mind. Personally, I enjoy vaping this flavor on the hotter side of the spectrum. Again, that's personal preference, so you have to keep that in mind as you're toying around with your settings. You'll have to find something that does work for you, but hopefully this will give you a starting point. Somewhere in that hotter realm will give you the most accurate representation of the flavors on the label, at least. Okay, so let's finish off this video with flavor rotation. Where does this particular juice fit into my flavor rotation? Now, if it's summer, obviously all day vape. It's, again, just like Ozzy, one of those really refreshing flavors. If it's winter, maybe borderline more on the dessert side of the spectrum, but this one is a little bit more subtle than Ozzy, and I would consider it an all-day vape, even in the winter. If you are someone who likes more savory flavors, I would recommend Sublime over Ozzy to get into these flavors, but that's, again, personal preference, so it's going to come down to that, and you'll have to figure out for yourself where you fit on the spectrum of savory to sweet. Alright guys, I think that's everything I've got this time for Sublime by Blackhouse Vapor Company. If I have given you enough information, awesome, hopefully I have, but if I haven't given you enough information on whether or not this is the juice for you, don't hesitate to come down to the shop, 2148 South 900 East Suite 3. You can come chill at our vape tasting counter, you can talk to us for a while, see if this is the flavor for you, or maybe we can recommend something that would be a little bit better for you. But thanks again for watching so much guys, we will see you on the next one, have a great day.